Hey, beginning programming, we are going to be starting our new project, which is going to be another relatively simple game. And the idea is we're going to be creating a Pong clone. A game much like the original game of Pong, which is a classic game that every programmer ends up making at some point in time as they learn about creating a program. The reason why we're just creating programs in general, the reason why we're choosing Pong is because it is going to bring in two new ideas into the class, and that is going to be keyboard interaction. So how is it that you can register a key press and make that actually translate into movement of things on the screen? And then the other thing is going to be collisions. So how do you get two objects on screen to notice that they've collided with each other? That's the big thing that we're doing in this project, and I think it will be great. There's a third and even more important thing that we're going to be working on in this project, and that is going to have to do with error checking and debugging, like finding what's wrong with your program. So I won't talk about that too much in this video because we'll do a whole separate thing on that. But that's going to be a big focus of this project. A lot of the ideas, for example, the mode framework, is going to be exactly the same as the last project. And you can check out those videos that are uploaded on my website on those topics if you've forgotten how to do them. So that's great. So it won't be the first time you're seeing those things. And that'll give us, not too much new information to work with, just this keyboard stuff and collisions, which is still, it's fairly complex, but also that'll give us a chance to just practice figuring out what's wrong with our projects. So let's get started. I just want to teach you how to do some basic keyboard interaction. So what we're going to do is I'm going to make a simple little example sketch. It's not going to be great, and I'm going to use a circle to see if I can make a circle move around. So we'll start off with void setup, void draw. If you are feeling a little rusty because we're just coming back from winter break doing this project, I sympathize with you greatly because I'm not surprised that you might feel a little bit rusty. So if you're like, oh, what's setup again? What's draw? Well, we'll get back into it. I'll just make a simple, basic 600 by 600 sketch, and we're going to create some variables, float x and y. So float x and y are going to be the positions of some kind of ellipse, and I'm going to draw an ellipse down here. It'll be it's drawn at x and y, and we'll make it good old, I don't know, maybe a little bit bigger just so we can see it, 100 by 100. And I guess I will clear the background every frame, or I'll clear the screen every frame. We'll just go background 0, go black. And if I run this, it'll be pretty boring. It's going to start in the top corner, and definitely I'm pressing keys. It's not moving around. So let's take a look and see how you can register key presses to make, say, a circle move. So what you want to do is you want to create some new functions, and these will be functions again that are built into processing. So processing manages when they happen for you. You don't have to call them or tell them to happen. They just automatically happen when you press a key on your keyboard if your sketch is running. So that's going to be void key pressed. Oops, I think it's capital P. Yep, there it is. And void key released. And you can just check and see what key has been pressed, because if this function is happening, it's kind of like mouse press. If this function happens, if this code is running, then a key has been pressed. So you just have to check, hey, what key has happened, and then do what you want to do. So the best way to start with that is to create some variables that will keep track of which key is being pressed and released. We're going to be making Boolean variables, I guess probably for the first time in this class, and that's fantastic. Boolean variables are just variables that are either true or false, and you'll notice those turn green or blue-green. I'm not sure what color that is, which indicates like void. Those are special words in processing. So Booleans can be either true or false, and we're going to keep track of whether or not a key is being pressed. If it's true, that if that Boolean variable is true, then we can know that that key is being pressed. And if it's false, we'll know it's not being pressed. So I'm going to do should I? Let's put A key, S key, D key, W key. So go WASD, and I'll just do up key as well. I don't want to do all of them because otherwise this video will be too long, but I'll show you how to register the keys that are a little bit different. There's no letter attached to them, or symbol, easy symbol. So I'll show you how these functions are going to manage these things. There's a great variable called key. Key tells, or processing manages key, and it stores the key that was last pressed. So if we have a key press event, then we can find out what key was pressed and then manage that Boolean variable accordingly. So if we had the key press happen, and we can check, hey, if it was a key, if the key equals the A key, that means the person pressed A on the keyboard. Just in case, we're going to put in or key was capital A. That's another possibility. Then we can assign the A key variable to true. So this says, hey, if you pressed A or capital A, that means we're pressing A. A key is assigned to true. On the other side, I guess I should mention I am making this formatting of this if statement a little bit different. I normally would do this. But when you have one line that follows an if, you actually can leave out the braces and put it all on one line. And that makes it a little bit neater. Instead of it taking up 3 lines, it just takes up 1 line. So I'm going to do it this way because we're going to have a bunch of similar if statements, and just will keep things neat. In the key release, that means you're letting go of the key, and you can do the same thing. You can check to see if you're letting go of the A key. So when you have a key release event, you can check to see if that key that you released was A or capital A, and then you can set the A key variable to false. Yeah, this is the pattern. This is it. You're just going to do that for W, S, and D as well, and you can just really copy and paste those. I'll put in W or capital W and set W key. See what I'm doing here? Pretty straightforward. I guess. I don't know. It might not be. If it isn't, I apologize. But try and make this happen as well. There's a good chance that when you're copying and pasting, you might make a silly mistake. So, like I did, I forgot to put in W key here, right? You got to make sure you're managing them. I guarantee you someone's going to make a mistake and it's not going to work and you're going to wonder why. So you need to go through these carefully and reread them each carefully to make sure that those are the right thing. Because copying and pasting is just a good place to make mistakes. It's just easy for you to forget. Because we're human, and humans aren't machines, and we make mistakes. So I'm just going to put in the rest of these, and it won't take long. And then D is the only one I have left. Oops. I guess I actually kind of screwed that up still. You'll notice that it's a single quote, not a double quote we're using. It's not super important to know why that is. Oops, that should be false. But just know that you should do that for now. It has to do with a character versus string. But that's not particularly important right now. Okay, so there you go. So I have basically when I get key pressed, the A key or W key, whatever these key variables are, get set to true. When I release, they get set to false. That's the whole story right there about those ones. It's a little bit different when you have something like the arrow key or shift key or control or tab or scroll lock or keys that don't have a character attached to them. So you'd have to do this for, say, for example, up key. So if you wanted to see if the up key was pressed, you have to use a special constant. And they're easy to remember because it's just up underscore key. Wait, up key? Up. Oh, it's just up now. Oh yeah, in processing 3, it's just up. So you can just check to see if the up key was pressed. You can do that. And you might be wondering, well, what's the shift key? What's the enter key? Well, they're probably what you think they are. Shift is shift. Enter is enter. They're always in all caps. And there's lists online of all the things. So if you wanted to find out how do you see if the caps lock key was pressed or something, you can go look that information up. But it's the same idea. There's only one mode for up key. There's not a capital up. So you could just say, up key equals true here, and, same thing down here. So there we go. So we have that set to go, and we basically have done a lot of work, and let's see what happens. Hey, nothing. I'm pressing the keys. It doesn't quite do anything yet. These variables are turning on and off, but we haven't attached them to anything yet. So what we're going to do now is, inside of the draw function, go ahead and put in these variables so that they affect the variables of x and y. So all I need to do is say, hey, if a key equals true, what does a key mean? Well, a key means we're moving to the left. So how are you going to affect x and y? Well, we're going to decrease x if we want to move to the left. So x equals x minus 1. And again, you can put that all in one line because there's just one thing happening. In the future, though, I imagine this will get a little bit more complex. So I'm going to actually keep these on separate lines. I could say if d key equals true, I'll move it to the right, which is x equals x plus 1, and so on. And you can do all the other ones too. Equals true. Then I'm going to move to up, so that's y equals y minus 1 because of upside down y-axis. And then if s key equals true, then we'll do y equals y plus 1. Now, if we actually run the sketch, you'll see that these variables, when they turn on and off with the key released and key pressed functions, will then start affecting the x and y coordinates. So now you can see that things are moving around. And they can even move in diagonal directions, even though I didn't program a diagonal direction, because it just happens that I am pressing both, say, the A key and the D key at the same time. Well, that doesn't make sense, I guess. A key and the W key at the same time. So they'll both happen. I'll change both X and Y. How do you change the speed of how things move around? Well, that's going to be dependent on, this number here. If I'm just changing by 1 each frame, then I'm not going to move very fast. You can upgrade these to 5, 10. You can experiment and see what you can come up with. So in this game, we are going to just start with circular collisions. And I think that we'll just finish off by looking at how you could check to see if two circles are colliding. So I'm going to make another circle, and I guess I'll just put it in the center of the screen. And let's put it ellipse. We'll make it at 300, 300, and it'll be maybe 50 by 50. So how do I know if these two circles are colliding? So, oops, I get focus here. So the way that you can tell if two circles are colliding, and by the way, we'll make our paddles circles and our ball that we're playing with circles, because it turns out those collisions are easier to manage for our first collisions anyways. You can basically compare the sum of the radii. So if you take a look at the radius of these circles, that's basically the distance from the center to the edge. And if you compare the sum of the two radii of the circle to the distance between the centers of the circle, you'll see that if the distance is less than the sum of the radii, then those circles must be overlapping. For example, right here, the distance between the circle, this center, and this center, that's definitely greater than the radii of the two circles added together. But once I get on top of each other, the sum of the radii will be greater than the distance between the circles. So how the heck would you do that? Well, here it is. We already know our radii, right? It's 100 for this circle. Oh, sorry, actually it's not, is it? Those are the diameters. So it's actually going to be 50 for this circle. I'll just make a note of that. And the radius here will be half of that, so 25. So then we got to basically see if the distance between these two circles is less than or equal to 75. And if they are, bam, we have a collision. And I think what I'll do is I'll just put an if statement here, and I'll make this ellipse turn red if we have a collision, just to see if it works. So I can say, hey, if the distance between the two circles, so we use dist function, so if the distance between x and y and 300, 300, that's the center of this circle and the center of the second circle, is less than or equal to the sum of the radii, so that's 50 plus 25, which you could just do that addition in your head is 75. We could have the computer do it, whatever you like. If that's true, if the distance is less than the sum of the radii, then let's fill with red. And then else, let's fill with white. And then I guess I'll just make the ellipse, the one that we control, I'll just always fill that with white. So now let's see if it works. I'm going to saunter over. I regret making it 1. It'll take a while. It's just building suspense, right? Here we go. Ta-da! Hey, look at that. The circle turns red. We know we've had a collision. Now, you can make the circle turn red. That's not going to be the exciting part. Really, this if statement's going to be determining a bounce. So we'll talk more about that when we get back. But what I'd like you guys to do is, for the beginnings of the assignment, first of all, try and make this key press stuff happen. But then when you want to start the assignment, you're going to want to recreate all the mode framework stuff we did from the previous project. So if you don't remember how to do that, take a look at your old project, take a look at the mode framework video that's on the website, and get all that groundwork laid down for next class. And then also try to get it so that, in your game playing mode, that you have at least one circle that's moving around when you press the key. And you might want to also add in the ball of the game that has the bouncing code from the target clicking game. So you can bring all that old code that we've used from previous projects. I imagine something will go wrong along the way, so just keep trying, don't give up if you encounter a problem, and I'll be there next class to help you out to make things go smoother. Okay, so thanks a lot for watching the video, and I hope you guys have a good class.